A Georgia grand jury has recommended criminal indictments for more than a dozen of Donald Trump's associates, including widely believed to be Donald Trump himself, for doubting the outcome of the 2020 presidential election, because you're not allowed to do that in a communist country. Unless, of course, you're a Democrat, then you can use the levers of government to try to smear your opponents as having done the very same thing that, well, you're not supposed to accuse them of doing. So the liberal media hasn't been this excited since Robert Mueller wrapped up his supposed investigation, and we all know how that turned out. But is this going to be any different? Subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and stay tuned, and we'll find out.
Well, today in Georgia, NBC's Blaine Alexander conducted what is simply the single most important interview ever conducted about a criminal investigation of Donald Trump. We have occasionally seen interviews with jurors after they have returned verdicts in criminal trials. Juror interviews are not common. Most members of juries in most trials never speak to the press. I have never seen an interview with a member of a grand jury before that grand jury's work has been made public. In fact, even after a grand jury's work has been made public, I don't ever recall seeing a grand jury member in a television interview. Today, 30-year-old Emily Kohrs, the foreperson of the Fulton County Grand Jury in Georgia that has been investigating possible election crimes possibly committed by Donald Trump and his associates, began her day doing a short interview with the Associated Press.
Oh, we got to see this groundbreaking interview with this extraordinary legal mind.
Did you personally want to hear from the former president?
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
This brilliant legal scholar also appeared very fittingly on the Clown News Network, where the circus went supernova.
Emily, thank you for coming on. I do want to say off the top, as you and I just discussed, but for everyone to know, you are somewhat limited in what you can discuss under the judge's orders as of now. But one, we do know, of course, one of the biggest questions remaining for everyone that wasn't in that jury room with you is how many people are in trouble here? What can you tell us about how many people you recommended?
Look at how excited she is that she gets to play a key role in possibly sending Donald Trump to prison.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And I'm hesitant to speak to something that the judge made a decision not to share. I don't know if everyone's aware of this, but there was a hearing about what parts of the report should and should not be published in its various forms, and the sections that were removed were consciously chosen to be removed, and I don't want to say I have better judgment than the judge.
That's totally understandable.
You almost have to wonder if this is somebody just pranking the media, if they got the wrong Emily Kohrs, who is just punking them. I can't believe this is real.
Not a short list. More, I mean, when it comes to 75 witnesses, like, it's not, I assume, of course, it's not 75 people. Would you characterize it as 20-ish people?
Oh, my God.
I can't say I counted.
Okay. More than a dozen, though, I think I'd heard you say in another interview?
I believe so. That's probably a good assumption.
It's also a safe assumption that this woman is a total whack job, and she has a Pinterest page, which is sort of like Instagram, but instead of just posting narcissistic photos of oneself, they post art projects and other things that interest them, where she reveals that she's a witch, and she posts various spells, her favorite spell books, and information about magic crystals and casting circles and all sorts of nonsense, magic herbs. She is such a lunatic that Anderson Cooper couldn't even pretend to take her seriously.
This person is talking on TV. I do not understand. She's clearly enjoying herself.
Yeah.
But I mean, is this responsible? She was the foreperson of this grand jury.
This is a horrible idea, and I guarantee you that prosecutors are wincing watching her go on this.
I was wincing just watching her eagerness to, like, hint at stuff.
It's painful in that respect. This is a very serious prospect here. We're talking about indicting any person. You're talking about potentially taking away that person's liberty.
Of course, this is just more evidence that we are living in the movie Idiocracy. Here is a brief scene from the trial in that movie.
Judge should be like, guilty. Peace.
So all the big liberal legal minds believe that this means that Donald Trump will be indicted.
This is not going to be the White Lotus, where you don't know who was killed and who did it and when it happened. What she is saying is it's obvious. And when you combine that with everything else that we know, including Judge McBurney's opinion, I don't think there's any conclusion you can come to here other than Donald Trump is going to be indicted in Georgia.
And he may be. And if that's the case, it might not be for another year until, what a surprise, right before the 2024 midterms kick off. Because the district attorney is going to have to launch their own investigation, which is going to take another year, perhaps even longer, before they finally decide. Now, they may not. They may indict a bunch of Trump associates, but not him, because they'll say there's exigent circumstances where a member of a jury is going to undoubtedly be a Trump supporter and they're never going to convict no matter what. So it's going to be a hung jury. So they only indict if there's a reasonable expectation that they can get a guilty verdict. Or they may throw out that legal standard and indict him anyway, just to continue to try to throw mud at him, to try to stop him from becoming the next president again. Meanwhile, while Joe Biden is returning from giving more of our tax dollars to a foreign country, Donald Trump was in East Palestine, Ohio today.
I sincerely hope that when your representatives and all of the politicians get here, including Biden, they get back from touring Ukraine, that he's got some money left over, because we're now at $117 billion, and as you probably know, Europe, when you add it all up, is at about $10 billion. That's a big difference, wouldn't you say?
Here is old Joe returning from his historic trip, handing out more of our tax money to Hunter Biden's business associates over there in Ukraine.
Back home,
Watch how they
just
cut
launched
immediately.
59
Oh, they
abroad.
cut actually just a second too late because old Joe tripped again on the stairs going up to Air Force One.
Work President Biden must now do back home. Russia just launched 59 abroad.
They cut it just a little bit too late. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here and check back on a regular basis, and I will see you soon.